All right, so this is a replay of a battle I just fought. And I decided I'd try a terrain map for once, and I wasn't sure what to go with, ended up going with Spanish Lakeside. So here I'm playing as Great Britain, and my opponent, I forget his exact name, like Adrian of Soriano, something like that. Adrian W. Soriano. And I'm going to put it on slow motion for a sec while I kind of go over our builds here. In fact, I'm going to pause it. So to start with, I'm Great Britain. And in this match, we were allowed to bring artillery, 2 of them, but no rockets. So I brought these 2 6-pounder horse artillery. I, of course, brought my general. I brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 foot, 3 light foot, and 2 King's German Legion light foot. Some light dragoons, like 4 of them, 5 of them, no, 4 of them, and a 10th Hussars, who's Great Britain's gun cav that they can only bring 1 of. My opponent, Prussia, he brought 2 of these grenadiers. He brought, of course, his general. He brought 2 6-pounder foot artillery. He brought 2 of these heavy cav, dragoons. He brought 2 light cav, the hussars. And then he brought 2 or 3 foot guard, 3 foot guards. And then a mix of Landwehr and musketeers filling out the rest. Quite a few more Landwehr than you would expect. But what do you notice about this? That's right. No light infantry of any kind. Not even his rifles his Silesian shoots in. And the other thing you can notice is he kind of seems disorganized here. Suddenly he realizes, oh crap, my opponent's going for the high ground. And he's not really sending his units up he didn't line his units up according to where they want to go, whereas I did that. So here you see I have a bunch of dudes ready to go. I have cav going up to kind of, if I need to run them a little bit to buy some time, I can. I have my cannons over here. I've got 2 of my light foot over here. I've got some foot over here. I'm sending a solid detachment up this left side right away. Whereas he is not really, and that's gonna give me an early advantage. Not to mention, the fact that he didn't bring any light infantry is kind of just enough to screw him. And I kind of send my other infantry up. I'm gonna take this path up here. One of them ends up routing around this instead, one of my line infantry that I intend to send that way. And I'll kind of go over a few mistakes I make in this match. I've already kind of covered some of the 2 main ones he made. He didn't line up according to where he wanted to send his units, I suspect because he didn't really have a solid plan in place. And he didn't bring his faction's best units. He brought a whole bunch of line, and he could have tried to use that to his advantage, but you see he brings just a whole bunch of them down this lower part. And you see I'm only sending 2 line infantry here, and I'm keeping them well back for now, and their main purpose is to guard the entrance to this path. And the other thing I'm thinking here is that that kind of keeps them out of range of the cannons. So here early on, I'm just really worried about getting my guys up. They're not really in a good formation. My lights aren't in skirmish formation, actually. My lions aren't spread out. If he had a howitzer, I'd probably be a little bit more careful about doing that, because he could get some of the early shots over the crest here, but even still, right now, I'm far enough back that it's okay. And so at this point, I kind of start thinking, well, he's not really contesting this hill very much. He's walking some guys over there a little bit. So my thought is I'm going to try to get my artillery in place to do some flanking fire. Because I'm expecting, you see right here, I order them way out ahead. This is probably a mistake. I honestly should probably, if I was going to do this, I've ran my foot more. And I just get overconfident in him not... Okay, so now he starts running. So you see, they came from really, that's one of his mistakes here, because they came from so far away and they're running. They're going to be tired, especially once they go up this hill. This is a pretty steep hill. But yeah, here I kind of just start getting my artillery, what I think is going to be in a good position. But to his credit, he does notice that, and pretty soon starts running his cav. Yeah, see, there you go. And I think, okay, I should have I should have ran my cav more, because I thought, oh, I can use them to intercept any cav that come in to get my cannons. Here, seeing he's running his cav, I start running my cannons away, but not really far enough. I probably should have run them back here, or should have ran these infantry up. And I do recognize this even, and I decide to have them. And I think, because at first I was thinking, oh, my cav will be able to catch up to his on time. And here I have them go away, and I intend to have them run away, but instead I have them walk. This one cav, he gets some pretty good mileage out of it, because he crashes into, for this, one hussar, he crashes into these these cannons, routs one of them entirely, and pretty badly hurts one of the other ones. Knocks out one of their cannons at least. Anyway, so that's, yeah, he knocks out one of the cannons on this other one, causes some disruption for me. He almost completely routs the other cannon, which would have been pretty not good. But anyway, so here, he's trying to bring his infantry up, his Landwehr. I get my light infantry into position, and I don't even have them go into skirmish, because this is such a narrow passageway. I want them all to be able to kind of be lined up and firing. And here I've cleared out his cannons. You can see here, he's not really doing much with his main army. And since he's just bringing up Landwehr, I mean, I let my light infantry skirmish here, but then I bring one of my cav in. These light dragoons, I get a lot of mileage out of them, and I just go ahead. They're very tired because he's had them run up there. Have them charge. They're charging through the woods, so, slows them down, but also gives them cover. Not to mention they're against Landwehr. So, and here, these cav keep chasing his. That's a mistake. I should have called them off. And he manages to form squares here. And I try to pull them out a bit. I did stop this one. And meanwhile, I work on getting my light infantry in position up in these woods. And here, he's brought in his dragoons, who are only winded. But again, I'm supporting, so he's fighting my light cav, but my lights are shooting at his heavy cav. And so I've lost these 10th hussars. That's a shame. They're a pricey unit for what they are. I didn't really use them too well here. But they buy me enough time to easily get set up here in these woods, and then I just kind of slowly creep forward between these these light dragoons and these King's German Legion Lightfoot. I rout his dragoons, I rout his Landwehr. I just keep charging through his other Landwehr. I really get good mileage here. They start running just a small little chain route that just secures this flank for me. And at this point I probably should have immediately ran up my lights maybe to cover here, because then he can never do that and then get my line behind them. Instead, at one point I decided to pull out my cav and thought, no, I'll charge down the hill at his hussars. Even though my guys are very depleted. And meanwhile, I'm opening up with my lights here. And he's trying to, walk down this choke point. I'm getting good shots on him. And that works out pretty well for me. And then I bring my light dragoons into position. Some of my, more light dragoons. While these ones are holding these guys off. And I decide, okay, well, he's gonna be there, just trying to fight my skirmishers. I'll go ahead. Okay, those are my light dragoons back here. It's not a problem. I go ahead and initiate. I just start walking, even start walking them toward him, and he forms square. And so I decide not to do the charge. And my lights can just pick off these in squared units quite easily. Meanwhile, he's getting his artillery in position, which they don't really end up being decisive. And I think, okay, so now, yeah, he's coming in with just these unsupported cav after he finished mine off. They do a little bit more than they should have because he catch my foot while moving. I almost got this square on time, but I didn't. Like, what would have been better just to keep them where they, like, keep them back here, and then better still to form square. Even still, these lights get good shots on his cav, and I realize I have a good shot to charge his cav on the flank at least with my dragoons, and I dither-dather with my remaining artillery a bit. Plus I bring up these guys just as reserves. What I honestly should have done, put them here, and then brought these two infantry here to fire. That would have been much better. I have a lot of inactive pieces here, so to speak. Meanwhile, I'm just keeping these two here guarding this, and I decide time to start moving my general up. Honestly, I should have put my cav up here too. They'd be pretty protected by this hill. And here, pull out my cav. I'm gonna fast forward a bit.
Our men are running, sir.
Okay, so then they start running. And he naturally, you know, sees that I have my my lights here, so I just recharge him to get that charge bonus again. When he's like really low on morale, hitting him in the flank, he's under fire. And that works out pretty well for me. And he just keeps, okay, now I start moving these infantry up. Honestly, I probably don't need to be doing this. They're fine back here. Even though they're inactive back here, they stop him from being able to come up this ramp. And they're shielded. And, okay, he's bringing up his foot guards now. They're tired because he's ran them up the hill. But it's too late. I've already killed his cav. He's bringing in his general. And here, I try to take a shot at his general. Okay, yeah, now his cannons are shooting on my infantry. Probably should shoot these cav instead. And I take a shot, try to charge his general. And here, you know, he's trying to flank my infantry, which is okay, I guess. But now he's getting all this enfilade fire from my lights. And I think he kind of pauses and realizes. And see, he goes into square. I think... Or does he reorient himself? No, he tries to reorient himself to fire. Right. And then I charge with my light dragoons. And he sees that. Has no choice but to go into square. Which I'm fine with because my lights can just easily pick him off there. Meanwhile, I have all of these lights continuing to fire on his ensquared musketeers. You can see here they kind of have some cover, so it's not so effective, but it doesn't really need to be that effective. And who is that? Yeah, these cav, but that's okay. Because by that point, I've really, really hurt those foot guards. They're wavering, they're under fire, they run away. And he again starts sending just a few more units, some foot guards and some grenadiers up to try to take the hill. And this is the time where I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring forward my light infantry. I end up putting them into skirmish mode even because they're going to be out more where they have room to go into skirmish. And I bring these guys around to try to protect him a bit, but I don't really need to very much because and then, yeah, these units kind of get bad pathfinding. He tried to bayonet charge my lights, caused some damage to one of them, but my foot that I had in reserve shot him up really well. And now he tries to bring another lone musketeer unit up. And here he realizes what I'm doing, starts focusing his fire on these infantry. And I just kind of decide I'm going to put pressure on him there. I don't really need to. At some point I noticed that these cav have come back. His generals, it's not for a while, but his general now is taking a lot of skirmisher fire, so he starts trying to pull him away. But doesn't really have anywhere to put him. Like down there, it's not good enough. And he starts running away. Which, you know, too bad I don't get the kill, but hey. So right here again, he's trying to send a run, and that's another part of his run, because he's running his units everywhere. They're always tired. So right here, he's running 3 infantry units up here, 2 foot guards, one of which is pretty depleted, and a grenadiers, which is just smaller to begin with. And they're running them up the hill, and I have these lights just ready for them. And yeah, as expected, you know, that just further damages his guys. And here I bring some foot up, so even if he does manage to get into melee range, I'll just shoot him. And here at some point I finally get my artillery in position. You can see I've unlimbered them. I brought them on the horses again because I was hitting this hill, and I decided to bring them up even further here. What I really probably could have done is put them like here, and just move my infantry up more to protect them. He canister shots one on my foot to death, but that's okay. I'm just putting minor pressure on him here, shooting him with my good musketeers. And yeah, here you see he's gotten close to my guys, and I believe he even brings his grenadiers in and has them throw grenades. Not the most useful ability. And yeah, he gets some explosions on my lights. Kills one guy. My lights are loosely packed. Grenades aren't very useful there, buddy. And here, I do what I should have done earlier, bring these infantry in to start contributing. Oh yeah, here I noticed that my light dragoons have rallied, and I notice his general is rallied right on the edge. So I go ahead and do a charge here, hoping to get a general kill. And they fight a bit. And he has just his general left out of his staff. And my calves start routing, but as they go, one guy takes out his general. And that's the point where I'm like, okay, I've killed his general, I really want to push now. And I charge my cav at these foot guards. He doesn't form square in time, but even if he had, I'd be okay with that. I have these light infantry supporting. I think at this point he just gives a GG. Says like, oh yeah, you took the high ground. Well yeah, because you didn't really contest it except piecemeal. I start having some of my guys bayonet charge here, even though I'm doing what I criticize them for in one piece. Oh, that hurts a lot. But I go ahead and just do bayonet charge. You know, against units that are far more like intact. That's fine. I don't care. At this point, I just let my infantry do lots of bayonet charges. These guys are pretty intact. Let them charge in as this column. He's got the remnants of those foot guards come in. That's okay though. Like, here I think I shoot them some because I get my light infantry even closer. And I have even more infantry come in. And then I have one of my light dragoons that came down this way go around and charge these grenadiers. Like, at this point, he recognizes it's over. I have my horse artillery just trying to get a few shots in, you know, on these guys. Looks like I knock a bunch of them over, but most of them get right back up. That's okay. Like, I could have just not brought any artillery at all, honestly. Though, so I'm gonna kind of now just go over what I feel like he should have done at a few points. First of all, of course, he should have contested this hill. Second of all, when he saw he wasn't going to take the hill and he had taken out my horse artillery, like a lot of people would have called it annoying camping, but when his cav really took out my artillery, I would say he earned the ability to camp a bit. He should have withdrawn back a bit here with his superior artillery. He's got 2 foot artillery, and so he, you know, 8 cannons versus my 3, should have pulled way back and just, made me at least advance on him off of the hill. And I would have. I would have been like, okay, you've earned forcing me to come on the offensive on a flat plane here. So he could have, I think the line is somewhere over here, so he couldn't really taken a huge hill advantage or anything. But he could have set up his cannons here. Or if that's not, if that's not close enough to get shots, he could have done here and stretched across this way and, had the advantage of forcing me to come to him off of the hill. Or he could have set up right back here somewhere. Not that, probably. I could have just shelled him from up here and won, but he when he realized he had gained a huge artillery advantage, he probably should have taken advantage of that. That's again, the main thing is his build. He didn't bring any lights. He brought those useless grenadiers, and he didn't deploy based on where he wanted to send his troops, probably because I suspect he didn't have much of a plan. Regardless, it was a fun game, a good game, and I give him credit for staying to the end, even when it became clear that I had him. Good game, Aiden W. Soriano. Sorry, I was saying Adrian before. But fun game. Thank you for staying to the end. Props to you.